Another way to choose the right statistical tool, aside from the type of quantitative data, is the nature of the research question or hypothesis. So, kung ang the research only seeks out to understand the characteristics of a certain sample data set, then probably descriptive statistics may already suffice or is already enough. So kung ang sample data set mo is the group of grade 10 students in the specific sections of the school, then if you want to study the study habits across different school subjects, then probably descriptive statistic may already do the job for you. So you can just take the mean hours spent on studying science as opposed to mathematics, etc. So descriptive statistics lang yung kailangan mo. While kung ang nature ng research question mo is to establish significant differences and relationships between variables or predict the outcome over the entire population, then you need both descriptive and inferential statistics. So let's go back to our example yesterday, wherein we let me just pull that up. So ito po yung example namin yesterday about the effect of the powdered chicken eggshells on the vegetative growth of the mung bean plant. So dito, we are already inferring that we are already trying to see if there is a relationship between the amount of eggshells integrated into the soil where this plant is grown on the vegetative growth of the stalks and the roots. So dito makikita natin that the data analysis involved one-way analysis of variance, and they also did this post hoc Tukey-Kramer test. So let's check if that is consistent with the website that I just showed. So ang independent variable natin dito is the amount of the PCES or the powdered chicken eggshells. So one independent variable, sorry. And yung independent variable natin is the stalk length and the root length. So dalawang dependent variables. And let's just check in the website if that is correct. So we have one independent variable with two levels. So ano ibig sabihin ng levels? So dalawang independent groups ng dependent variable. Wait, so that is just one independent variable and two dependent variables. Two sets. Yeah, so two levels, one independent variable. So nakapaloob dito na if you have one dependent variable or two, maybe it doesn't matter. You can use one-way ANOVA for a normally distributed and interval type of data. So by the way, in this website, yung numerical data nila is just coupled into interval. So hindi niya dinidistinguish between ratio or interval. So it's just interval numeric data. So you can see here that indeed you can use one-way ANOVA, but the assumption there is your data should be normally distributed. Now in the paper, they didn't explicitly say that the data is normally distributed because this is just plain measurement of the root length and the stalk length. But they also mentioned that they use this Tukey-Kramer test. Kaya lang hindi ko makita yung ano. Hindi ko makita yung tab. But anyway, yung Tukey-Kramer test is used when you're comparing the means of two variables with unequal number of with not equal number of observations. Let's say for example, yung kinuha nila na sample for 10 days ay kinuha nila na measurements for the 10 days is 5 measurements. Pero nung 20 days, 4 na lang. So, di equal yung number of observations. So, may mga specific tools din na pwede natin gamitin in those cases. And for this example, they found this Tukey-Kramer test. So, di ko lang ma-pull up yung website. Nakaharang tong tab ng ano. But anyway. So, the choice of the statistical tool also depends largely on the type of your research question or hypothesis. So, what I have just presented here is like a general overview of the quantitative data analysis, but and this is not a very exhaustive discussion, but if you want to know more about statistical data analysis, we had a webinar on that, basic statistical design of experiments, delivered by Professor Darapol Ebal from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños Institute of Statistics. You might want to check that out on our website and also our YouTube channels. Yeah. So that leads to the end of my discussion over here. So let me just check if we had here. Ayan. Significant t-test. So maraming different types of statistical tools depending on the cases of your data. So kung hindi normally distributed, kunyari, yun nga, hindi equal yung number of samples. So there's a tool for that. So marami siya, di lang one-way ANOVA. Maraming different tests that you can employ. Let's say you have one control group. Ayun. Kailangan ba daw na 30? So, hindi naman po kailangan na 30. It's just that kung ang kaya lang natin na sample size ay 3 lang. So, there are statistical tools that would cater to that kung hindi siya normally distributed. So, dun sa pinakita ko na website, meron dong caveat na normal. That means normally distributed. Pero yung walang nakalagay na normal, you might probably employ that. Let me just show that again. So, nakalagay dito, normal, meaning normally distributed. But if it doesn't indicate normal, then you can use that for samples less than 30. or not normally distributed samples.
So, JP, I have a question. Are you familiar with the Sloven's formula?
No, sorry.
Or hindi ako
Kasi
masyadong
napakarami nila. Okay,
Okay.
and actually dun sa mga research natin, catalysis,
Yes.
most often this is really impossible. No? At best, 3 trials lang yung nagagawa talaga natin per condition, and well, yung statistical data analysis is not directly applicable to every research, but for like clinical trials and other measurement data researches, it's very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ay, siguro, you're bringing up like a very important point. Kasi, by the way po, yun pong scope ng topics or the nature of the research studies that we implement, iba-iba po yan. JP mentioned something about what we do in catalysis or in other areas of science. For example po ako, I practice synthetic organometallic chemistry. So meaning po, I am building molecules. I am building molecules and I'm building structures that have never been done before. So partly create, parang kung level of creativity po, sa creation siya or sa yung you're coming up with something that is original. Kapag po ganun yung klase ng research na gagawin nyo, medyo hindi po namin kailangan ng statistical treatment. So gusto ko lang din pong iklaro sa inyong lahat na ang napansin ko din po kasi sa mga nagko-consult sa amin na teachers when it comes to high school research, parang meron pong expectation that if you are to perform research, dapat may statistical treatment of data. Well, in fact, hindi naman lahat.
Ayan, very helpful tong pinost ni Sir Alvin Insorio because he distinguishes parametric test versus non-parametric test. So I just want to qualify that this parametric test is applicable for data that follows a normal distribution. So parametric yun. When your data is skewed to the left or to the right, yung sa pinakita ko kanina, then that one is already non-parametric. So iba yung applicable statistical tool na dapat mong gamitin for that non-parametric data set. So ito, thank you sir. Pinakita ni ilagay
may
niyo dito.
nagtatanong JP kanina, parang how would they know if skewed yung kanilang
from experiments. So ipakita ko lang ulit.
So bali, kapag nakuha mo na yung data, saka mo lang malalaman.
Pag nakuha mo na yung data, yeah, so let me just go back. Kung paano malalaman kung positively skewed, it's from the data. So you make a histogram, a frequency distribution of the data, then dun mo malalaman kung yung median mo is higher than your mean or vice versa. Then dun mo ma-determine if it's negatively skewed or positively skewed. Yeah. And these two are non-parametric, again, non-parametric data sets versus a parametric a data set for a normally distributed data. Yun.
Mukhang ang dami ditong sobrang nag-resonate tong topic na to. Ang dami nilang like very specific and essentially case-specific questions, like asking about like kapag yung paggamit ng ANOVA, if you have like a limited number of groups, but then you also have a different number of samples per group.
Yeah. So I just presented like a general overview on how you decide on that. Pero yung mga very specific samples, sorry po, hindi ako statistician. So you might want to consult.
You might want to consult, but then also check out po yung talk ni Professor
Lara. Yeah. Kasi yun talagang didetalye niya doon. Yeah.
It was, I think, a 2.5 hour talk. So what we have that long talk po, and what we also did was we spliced her talk according to topics. So pag sinearch po dun sa YouTube channel ng PhilSci Hub, meron po dong mga talks about like ANOVA, yung mga RCBD,
Yeah.
hinimay niya po lahat yung fundamental approaches or the statistical design of experiment, and she also talked about yung mga tools po, statistical tools that you can use. Meron din po atang free na statistical treatment tool na madadownload nyo from IRI, from the International Research Institute. Yun po, dinesign ng mga eksperto sa UP.
Yeah.
So,
And
panoorin niyo po yung shared it.
dun sa link na pinost ko, meron din siyang parang mga sinasuggest na ways to determine that in different programming tools like R, SPSS.
Yes.
Ayan. So I'm gonna post the link here and just I'm also gonna post this in the post-test evaluation so that you can.
Yes, yes.
Ayun.
Actually,
So,
ang
that concludes
ganda
my
naman
part.
ang ganda naman ng ang ganda naman ng flow ng discussion. Mukhang maraming eksperto na rin at experience tayo mga teachers when it comes to statistical treatment of data. So,
That's very good. Yeah.
yes, ayan. So, ano po, ang maganda po dyan, hindi po tayo madamot. Sinishare po natin ang ating mga tools para makatulong sa ating mga kasamahan. Ayan. Maulitan pa. Sir, Tites, ano ba, asan yung tanong nila? Seems that choosing the right statistical treatment depends on the research objectives, questions, and research design of the study and experiment. Tama po yan. Actually, pag pumunta po kayo dun sa talk ni Professor Ibal, she actually talks about all of these things when they use this particular statistical design. And building on what you just said, it's actually depending on your research objectives and yung study na gusto niyo po. Ano po ba talaga yung hypothesis?
Nature.
Yes.
Balik na naman sa hypothesis.
Yes, exactly. Hypothesis is the heart of research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just as a parting note of this whole scheme of research. So ayun, dun nga po, from data analysis is where we draw the conclusions with a solid statistical foundation or solid statistical basis for the hypothesis.
Yep.
So
Yep.
and then that ties back to the research question.
Yes. JP, could you go back to the slide where you're showing yung talk ni Professor Ibal? Yes. Kasi may nagtanong ano daw yung title. Yun po, Basic Statistical Design of Experiments.
Kahit type nyo lang, statistics. Yan.
Apo.
Lalabas na yan.
Ayan. And pag pumunta po kayo dun sa Phil, I shared a link po yesterday to everyone. Meron po kami sa website namin, it's a webpage where we have compiled all of our research training courses na ginawa po namin over the course of the past 2 years. Since simula po ideation hanggang pagsulat ng thesis at conference communication. Lahat po nandun yun. Makikita niyo po itong talk ni Professor Ibal.
Yan, yung mga p-values. Yan, hindi ko na siya dinitalya, sorry po. I can't go to that level of detail.
Yes, opo.
Yep.